Washington Post reporter Jessica Contrera wrote a really fantastic piece revealing just how difficult those next steps were for officials in Virginia Beach. You traveled there, did some terrific reporting on this, and it's interesting to see that there's a whole new set of challenges, right? They're finally being tested, but now comes this ethical dilemma, Jessica.
Yes, thanks so much for saying that. It is really difficult. A lot of the people who are working on this situation, whether it be lawmakers, activists, people in the police departments, they want to do the right thing by victims. But the thing is that when it comes to these very sensitive topics, it's pretty common for people not to agree on what's actually best for those who are involved.
Well, it's really interesting because I think famously one person that has been active about bringing this to light is the actress Mariska Hargitay of SVU, Special Victims Unit,
Yes.
Law and Order. Her Joyful Heart Foundation, and I understand that her organization even prepared this 159-page report, and even there, from their research, they could not find consensus. And from your reporting, if you look at Houston, Louisville, Virginia, Detroit, all of these cities have different protocol for what they are doing and how they're handling it. So it sounds like there's some confusion even within law enforcement.
That's correct. Yeah, the question at hand is really about what happens when a kit comes back from the lab, and unfortunately, the information in the kit doesn't do enough to make police and prosecutors sure that they can actually prove that a crime occurred. So if the case can't move forward in any way, there's this question. Do you contact a victim and say, hey, we finally tested your kit? Some people say, absolutely, yes, that is her body in that kit. She should be notified every time somebody sneezes near it. Other people say, no, why would you call someone up and remind them of what's the worst day in their life when you don't have any good news for them? And the people who are on those two sides, and there are some positions in between as well, they feel very fiercely that that is the right thing to do for victims who have already, suffered at the hands of a system that didn't exactly look out for them.
But the fact that they're having this very conundrum speaks to the fact that how we handle as a nation and how society and law enforcement handles rape victims is morphing. It makes me realize they are now struggling with this conundrum, especially in light of the Me Too movement, women demanding to be heard and believed. It makes me realize that there is a shift happening. Is that your perception as well, Jessica?
Absolutely. Over the last decade especially, law enforcement has been receiving tons of training on how victims should be treated. Not just because they've been through something horrible, but how do you, when you have a crime like rape that happens often behind closed doors with two people who know each other, that's very hard to prove. It's actually beneficial for the police to be respectful of the victims, to understand that they might not know right away exactly what time things happened, or have a very clear memory of what happened. That it's better what they call to treat victims in a way that they call trauma informed. And whether you're talking to people in state legislators, people in police departments, people in advocacy communities, everyone's talking about that. How do you be trauma informed?
How do you be trauma informed? How do you best handle this now, this new conundrum? Just because something's hard doesn't mean it's not worth doing. Is there a concern that because it is not an easy solution, because there's some disagreement in how it should be done, that it'll move to the back burner once again?
I don't think the activists involved will let that happen. I mean, these kits went on for years without being tested. Now it's sort of everyone's of the same mindset. It's time to test the kits. And when it comes to what do you do when they come back, I think that there are a lot of people involved who are trying to figure out what is the best way. And even though they don't have an answer yet, it seems to me like they're determined to find one.
Ms. Contrera, I want to commend you on your terrific reporting. Keep it up.
Thank you.
Hopefully these activists will keep the fires burning for this and get some of these victims some closure, some answers, and some justice. Thank you so much for joining us from the Washington Post.
Thanks for having me.